Squid Game burst back into our lives like a bloody tornado, dragging us kicking and screaming into those merciless children's games once again. This second season dropped just in time to be the ultimate holiday gift. But let me tell you, mate, it didn't quite land as smoothly as we'd hoped. Today, we're going to dig into what the creators got right, where they polished the diamond, and where they overcomplicated things to the point of breaking. No spoilers, don't worry. Grab your popcorn, get comfy, because this is going to be one hell of a ride. There's no denying that Season 2 of Squid Game was one of the most hyped-up follow-ups of the year. Back in 2021, this show exploded onto the scene faster than a bullet, becoming an international sensation. That put some serious pressure on the writers not to screw it up. And guess what? After its release, opinions were split right down the middle. If you look at Rotten Tomatoes, comparing both seasons, you'll see the sequel takes a bit of a nosedive. The first season scored a blistering 95% from critics, while the second dips slightly to 86%. But the real kicker? Audience scores. 84% versus 63%. That gap screams one thing. Expectations were sky high after that jaw-dropping debut. On closer inspection, though, the writers are following a pretty logical path. Squid Game is a global phenomenon. Season 1 became a cult classic, racking up fans by the truckload. The story picks up exactly where we left off 3 years ago. Season 2 continues Hwang's journey, who's dead set on destroying those cursed games no matter the cost. After everything he's been through, he decides to track down the island where the games happen, aiming to shut them down for good and take out the organizers. As the trailers teased, he teams up with Detective Junho, who survive his own ordeal and share similar goals. Naturally, the plot expands beyond the game arena, but the main focus stays on the trials themselves. Since nearly all the original characters bit the dust in Season 1, the sequel introduces a fresh batch of players, each with their own baggage. You've got a crypto YouTuber who pissed off his audience with bad financial advice, a rapper who's more cartoonish than serious, with a nod to a certain stone lover from the Infinity Saga, a mother-son duo trying to sort out their issues, a pregnant girl looking to earn cash, but running into her baby daddy, and a few others scattered across the moral spectrum. The new characters are intriguing, and watching their stories intertwine is bloody entertaining. But here's the snag. There just isn't enough time to develop them properly. Season 2 clocks in at 7 episodes instead of 9, and they dive straight into the deep end. Many viewers won't have time to bond with these characters before the stakes get lethal. Plus, there's one unexpected player who shakes things up, a cheeky nod to Iron Man, but we'll circle back to him later. Like the first season, Squid Game tackles social inequality through its diverse cast and their struggles. The games themselves operate under a strict hierarchy, with rich spectators perched at the top while participants fight tooth and nail. However, the VIPs are completely MIA this time around, or rather, they exist as a looming threat behind the scenes. Unlike the first season, where we actually saw them, they're nowhere to be found in the narrative. This makes the conflict feel more personal, like a showdown between Hwang and the frontman. Speaking of which, the frontman gets a meaty backstory this time, complete with motives and screen time. Don't be surprised if he steals the spotlight. His art feels like the juiciest part of Season 2, especially given how much attention it gets. A twist involving him could be brewing, and it's anyone's guess whose side he'll take when the dust settles. At its core, the story raises some gnarly questions about justice and how it can warp under extreme conditions. Hwang essentially becomes the linchpin for hundreds of lives, shouldering the burden of eradicating injustice and helping others. The series explores how this responsibility transforms him, testing his morals and humanity. Season 2 shows that fighting for a righteous cause can backfire spectacularly if the weight falls on one man's shoulders. Hwang has to walk a tightrope between saving others and holding on to his own soul, making his journey darker and more tragic. This sets Season 2 apart from the first. It shifts focus from the games themselves to life-or-death dilemmas. The novelty, twists, and social commentary set a high bar, and Season 2 dives deeper into these themes, adding layers to the character dynamics. But for many, it doesn't quite hit the mark. Detective Junho's storyline feels muddled. playing out in the background without much clarity. That said, the twist revealing one character did add some context to the original plot. One standout element is the subplot among the guards, told from one of the perspectives. The brewing conflict promises to have major repercussions down the line. The music choices, though, might rub some viewers the wrong way. In certain moments, it creates an odd sense of comedy that feels out of place. Whether you love it or hate it, it's definitely a hallmark of Season 2. You can't miss it. By the way, folks were worried about the agenda since this is a Netflix production. It's there, sure, but they don't shove it down your throat. Just a couple of subtle nods, nothing more. Also worth noting, Season 1 arrived post-pandemic, when audiences were hungry for fresh content. Season 2 doesn't carry the same shock value, which may have affected how it was received. Viewers often expect sequels to match or surpass the original, leading to harsher reviews and sky-high standards. To be fair, Squid Game sticks to its core themes while expanding through new storylines and characters. It's still a quality project, logically building on the first season. It's just not as groundbreaking as its debut, which might leave some fans cold. Season 2 can't recapture the magic of the first, but it delivers a solid continuation worth your time. The children's games are still brutal and unforgiving, but let's face it, the tension doesn't hit as hard as it used to. Part of that's because Huang's confirmed for Season 3, so he's got plot armor. Another player's motives are clear from the start, and it's unlikely he'll bite the dust early. Still, I'd recommend giving Squid Game a watch over the holidays to form your own opinion. Now, for those who've already binged the sequel and are ready to dive into spoilers, let's talk about that cliffhanger. The show stops at the most tantalizing moment, leaving us hanging. Honestly, calling the next installment Season 3 feels misleading. It's more like Season 2 Part 2. We were led to a pivotal point, wrapping up the frontman's escape, but the plot cuts off abruptly, leaving a sour taste. Thankfully, we won't have to wait years for Season 3. The finale reveals that Captain Park, initially introduced as Junho's ally, is actually a double agent. Turns out, the frontman hired him to keep tabs on the detective after his miraculous survival. If that twist fell off to you, it's meant to explain a few key plot points. First, Huang voluntarily returns to the games to dismantle the system from within. He had a tracker hidden in his tooth, installed beforehand so he could be traced. But the tracker's removed before the games begin, and Huang's plan is exposed thanks to intel leaked by Captain Park. Second, Detective Junho believed Park saved his life after falling off a cliff during his brother's attack. Now, it seems more plausible that Park was hired specifically to monitor him and prevent his return to the island. On one hand, this ensures the games run smoothly. On the other, it shows the frontman's concern for his sibling. The script deliberately emphasizes In-ho's backstory. Throughout the fake player subplot, he treats the pregnant participant with unusual care. This might influence his decisions in Season 3, hinting that redemption could still be on the table. The parallels between Player 001 and Il Nam are obvious to everyone except Huang, who remains clueless about who's really been pulling the strings. Sure, it's a bit repetitive, but it's still a clever move. It brings us closer to the main villain. The recruiter's backstory, however, feels disappointing. From a mysterious figure with potential depth, he's reduced to an idealist obsessed with games. All in all, Season 2 isn't a failure. It just doesn't live up to the first season's brilliance. It's still a quality project that develops the story methodically. Personally, I think splitting the series into 3 seasons was a mistake. They should have released a full second season, wrapped up the arcs, and moved on to spin-offs or new characters. But hey, beggars can't be choosers. For now, the sequel remains divisive. Be sure to share your thoughts in the comments. Did the second season meet your expectations? Or did the creators lose their edge over 3 years and slide into a plot-driven thriller? Right, listen up, folks. If you've made it this far, you're officially part of the crew. Thanks for sticking around and giving this breakdown a watch. It means the world. If you enjoyed it, do us a solid. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss our next upload. And while you're at it, why not check out our latest video? We've got a cracking analysis of some brand new films waiting for you. Trust me, it's worth your time. Cheers for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one. Keep it real.